Hello, everyone. Welcome back to CoinPoker's Cash Game World Championship. We are back, and we're closing in on that last week here. We got 8 days left, including today, in the challenge. And today we're joined by a brand new guest. It's Mr. Frankie Carson. How is it going?
Hey, how's it going, Johan?
Pretty good. Yeah, excited. Always excited to hear from anybody that's joining for the first time in particular. Hear a little bit about them, their stories, and then of course going into some hands and breaking those down as well. Have you
Yeah,
watched? Have you watched a bunch of the show? And yeah, anything in particular that you noticed, or I saw that you were doing content around it as well, right?
yeah, I definitely like doing a lot of content around it. Watching them being the best players in the world is always a lot of fun, and you can always learn a lot too.
Yeah, of course. I had a look at your YouTube, and then I saw like you did a bunch of podcasts. I'm definitely gonna have to watch later. You had Absolute Top Up on. You had Matt Marinelli, Prodigy, from what I saw, and it's interesting that it seems you only started not that long ago to make content, right? I think your oldest video on your YouTube is 11-month old.
Yeah, I started last Christmas time. My wife I thought about doing it, and I was like, I don't know. And then my wife's like, just do it, and I was like, all right, because just felt like doing something a little different because I do run it once, videos, which are a lot of fun, but wanted to branch off and do a little something different as well on top of those. So I'm glad she pushed me over to do it. It's been fun. I like interviewing people. It's a lot of fun, like to have like Prodigy or me and Matt on and just kind of talk poker for, a couple hours or whatever.
Yeah. I think content is kind of like I saw like your fellow tattooed individuals such as myself. It's kind of like the first tattoo. Like you just have to get past it. Like once you get it, you're usually gonna want to feel. You're usually gonna feel like you just want to get more, pretty much, right?
When you watch the high stakes,
Sorry.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
No, I said like content is kind of like about starting. Like once you start, like you'll just keep going. Kind of like getting tattoos because I saw you're a fellow inked individual.
Yeah,
Like I
those
am.
tattoos can be definitely ink is like can be addictive. I thought you have some too, right? I think I saw a pic.
Yeah. I got like 2 full sleeves and a little bit of the
Oh, you got the
chest.
full sleeves, yeah. Yeah, I started small with that and then I did a bigger one a couple of years ago, and it's like when you do it, yeah, it's a good analogy. You kind of just want more.
Yeah.
There's only so much space, right? Until you
Yeah, I mean, you have to be honest. By the time you get done, if you're gonna do the whole body, it's probably gonna take a while, of course.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't plan on doing that, but I do have an itch for another one. We'll see what happens.
Well, we know what happens. I'm gonna pull the trigger eventually. When I was watching your content, by the way, and I clicked that first video, it was only 480p. What happened there?
Oh, was it? I don't even know. I don't know what I'm doing. I just like
Yeah,
shot video. Was it 480p? Wow, really?
480p, I believe. But I was like,
Oh, that
whoa.
sucks.
Yeah.
Hopefully all my videos aren't 480p.
No. Yeah, I think after that it's like normal. Just like the first one is like #1 trait of great poker players. So I opened it and it
Yeah.
was like kind of like pixelized. I was like, oh, let me raise the quality. And then I see it's capped at 480p. I was like, yo.
Oh, so that wasn't just me. Yeah. That's me being a newbie there, and literally I'm just doing everything by myself. So I have no idea how to do the technical side of things. I'm learning as I go.
Yeah.
Like
You should have
I can talk poker, I can play poker, but everything else outside that, like just learning, it's like I didn't know that though. That's funny. Oh well,
if you ever
maybe I
have
can
any
fix.
question, yeah, just let me know. Like I know a little bit about the tech stuff, but I'm guessing you just set it at some point later to like a higher uh, definition. It was fun. Like your very next video, the maneuvering over pairs, like the queen of chess is 1080p, so it's like perfect. It's like HD.
Oh, nice.
So immediately
Yeah,
from the
thanks
next
for
one.
pointing that
Yeah,
out.
no worries, no worries. All right, well, we got a bunch of players in the mix here. We can try and like pay attention, see if we can pick out an interesting hand to go over. it's only 2 tables out of the $5 running, so we're gonna mostly focus on those. Although right now I do see we got a jam here. Oh, and again, we got a call. What? Ace King went all in against Ace King on 6-6-7.
Yeah, I saw that. I just looked over. I didn't see the full hand history here,
we can check.
but it looked like they're all on the flop.
We 4-bet pot, I guess. And nobody had a heart too.
I just looked over real quick. Yeah, let's see what they did.
So wait, am I looking at the right hand? No. Okay, there it is. So Monkey opens hijack 2x, flushy calls, rigged, squeezes button, and we get a 4-bet to 2650. Pretty, it's kind of on the bigger end, right? Because he's only 104 deep.
Well, okay. You're saying monkeys is deep. Which bet? You said the 3-bet or the 4-bet?
The 4-bet, yeah, because he's 104 deep, but it's a weird dynamic because he got called. And okay, no, actually, so the squeeze is squeeze makes the 3-bet bigger. Yeah,
there's a bunch of money in the middle. It's I think the sizing seems pretty fair.
Okay.
The squeeze always increases the amount that you want to kind of giddy up.
Yeah,
get the money in.
Is there a number that you're committed from when you 4-bet or you 5-bet?
No, in terms of sizing.
Yeah, let's say you're 100 BB deep.
No, I think it's situational. Like it depends on like positions. In this case too, there's also additional things to think about when you have flat. Always changes things. It changes ranges, and it changes sizings, and of course the pot in general. I think it's always different. It honestly doesn't matter. It definitely matters, but it's really contextual to the spot. I think like sizings pre-flop in general is like something people like standardize a little too much, but there's so much wiggle room for different sizings and thoughts, and then also thinking about what your opponent's doing a lot. People kind of just do the same thing, especially like B versus B. B versus B, things can get weird quick, especially if your opponent's playing a different strategy. Like a lot of people click back small to like 4-bet small, but you sure that's the right strategy? Like, are they polarized? Are they linear? You know what I mean? Like, you need to how polarized are they? So,
do you think it's similar to like in life we always kind of like put people into boxes, right? Like you have to be like this or this. Like we always hear about like some multi-talented people that somehow they end up being put like in one box or the other as far as like what they're able to do. Like say like there's an athlete who also can commentate. They'll be like, oh, are you an athlete or a commentator? And then I'll kind of like try to label them by one of these, even though that person might be able to do both. So do you feel like maybe sometimes with the strategy and sizings, people are kind of acting in a similar fashion? Well, like they'll just end up, trying to figure out what's right in their eyes, but maybe they don't understand that what's right can be a lot of different things here.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's good to kind of trade precision for execution. Like, I mean, it is good sometimes to put people in buckets because you're playing like a lot of tables and a lot going on. It's like you can't always think deeply about everyone's. But I mean, these guys playing, knowing each other well, they probably could. But I think it's a trade-off, and I think it depends. I do think sometimes it gets over-exaggerated, and that's where people run into like results that get stale, where they just keep doing the same thing and like just making easy buckets and kind of playing a similar way, where really you need to be. It was like a lost art of thinking about the actual person across from you. As we've developed all this theory and solvers and things that people still have their own personal tendencies and ways they approach the game. So if you're playing the same reg and stuff, you really should start understanding them more and deviating and different situations. So I think it's almost like the buckets that I'm saying is good, and categorizing things simply is good, but then you need to like layer on like a cake, like on top of that specific movement within where you're changing strategy a little bit or sizings or whatever it may be.
Yeah, that sounds good. If you're rigged here and you have ace king, you squeezed, and then you get 4 bets. I'm guessing you're probably not loving life. But so why just flat over go all in?
Yeah, it's so I think first off, these games are no rake, which leads to less incentive to get aggressive pre-flop, and especially when you're in position, you can flat a lot more. Like if somebody's watching this and you're playing like 50 NL, like this, it'd be a totally different ball game. You know, like the rake changes things drastically. So I think there's that. You're definitely not loving life too much, but I mean these guys are top end professionals, so they will have. It's not like you're playing some tight reg at again at like $15 $100 where like Monkey's only gonna have like aces and kings and ace king suited, because then you're like like
Yeah.
this he'll find those low end bluffs, a nice mixed range where ace king in position isn't too terrible, but
Okay. Once he calls, then we head to a flop of 6-6-7, and as we saw, things escalated quickly because Monkey opened jam. Whatever happened to betting quarter here? He was like, screw
it's funny.
that.
I actually thought they went all in pre-flop. I didn't realize this when you first went over it. But what were his? Can I see what were his suits? I'm just curious. But
I think nobody had
he
a heart, I
called.
believe. Yeah, nobody had a heart.
Nobody had a heart. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to play 4-bet pots. They're very nuanced spots, very interesting. Just the shove. I mean, the idea is like we're like he's blocking some of like Riggs going to have aces and kings here, and he has a fair amount of equity versus a mid pocket pair region that would probably call here and just apply pressure to the rest of the range, and you're doing fairly well still, even versus like a ace queen of hearts. So I mean, it's viable. It's not a strategy. I don't play a lot of shoves in 4-bets. It's just I'm not playing at these guys level, but like I think a lot of people struggle versus multiple street playing in 4-bet pots because they're very nuanced and weird. So I like keeping sizings lower and navigating throughout the streets.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like these guys obviously played at they're all very good. So
And we did have a chop since nobody had heart. Okay, then any chance you could introduce yourself a little bit more for those that might not necessarily know you? So far, I feel like what I personally know is like you do some content on Run It Once, you play mids to high stakes, and I think that's about it. You make some content on YouTube as well since a little under a year ago.
yeah. So I'm a cash game player. I play mid-high stakes, probably like 500 1Ks, kind of been my wheelhouse for a little bit. And I make run it once videos. They're fun. They're kind of like, I feel like more like a collegiate type atmosphere where you're like your professor and you have students. It's a nice atmosphere. And then I started doing the YouTube stuff, like a year ago. Just I don't know, the Cash Game Championship was going on. I kind of wanted to talk more about it, and I just love poker, so I love watching it and talking and playing and teaching. So it's all fun. So I thought I'd take that on, and it's been fun to make contacts. That's been fun, like I said, to kind of talk to people, interview people, and kind of look and also just going over the hands of the best players, kind of forcing myself to look at some of these hands and like what they're doing. I think there's so much to learn from what they're doing, especially these show tables. Like if you're watching, this is, these aren't like live stream, at the bike or whatever, that obviously they're fun and stuff, but this is like the best minds in poker, and you get to see their cards. Like that's unreal, like I don't think enough people understand like how amazing that is. Like there's no sport or game or like that kind of like happens at that level. And then some of these guys are even talking about their hands and what their thoughts were. And it's really cool. So it's a lot to learn from that. But yeah, that's a quick background on me. So yeah.
Yeah, very cool, actually. So you say 500 to 1K. Is that like the stakes you've been playing at for a long time now? And then I'm curious. Then, what was your progression in poker? Like, what did you play initially, and how long did it take you to get to the stakes?
Well, initially, if you want to go really far back, I mean, I started at the like low micro stakes and grind it up. When I started at Run It Once, I was at 200 NL, and I moved up to 500 and then 1K. So the last few years, and I kind of been at 500 1K now. And as I've talked about at Run It Once, that they know, I move like a turtle through state. Like I'm never gonna be a person that like, oh, this guy went from 500 to 10K in like 6 months. Like that's not me. I'm very conservative person in general in terms of like stuff like that. I take my time and I really just keep learning and try to get better at the stake. And when I'm comfortable and ready, I'll move up. But that is my goal, is to keep moving up. But I move at a snail pace, and that's the pace I'm comfortable with. So
It's not a it's not a sprint. It's a marathon, right? That's the expression. It's like that with
yeah,
poker too. Honestly, I don't like. We always hear like those wild stories. You're right, of like this player moved up this quick, and like it's the genius that everybody looks up to. But the more realistic scenario is that yes, somebody moves up gradually, and you say like you're conservative, but there is also merit in that, right? Not everybody needs to be like a shot taking degenerate with 20 binds, going to the next limit.
yeah. Matt Marinelli brought up a good point on my channel too. He's like, one of the students asked him, he's like, man, how do I get to these stakes? How do I get to the stakes you're playing? He's like, do you need to get to these stakes? And then the guy was like, huh. He's like, maybe you can just live at mid stakes, just play there your whole life. Who cares? Like, it's
Yeah,
like you
that's
don't
true.
have to it's a lot of pressure to get up to these high levels. And then, you brought up the point of the shooting star that like kind of moves up in 6 months to nosebleeds. But people have to understand that's the tip of the iceberg, and below the iceberg is all the stories you never heard of the people who did that and lost a serious amount of money and never made it. You know what I mean? Like that happens. Like you can't, I'm not saying don't do it, and I'm not poo-pooing anyone's dream,
Yeah.
but I'm just being realistic that the fact of the matter is, if you do that and like, you say F it, and I'm gonna play 10K now, and I'm gonna play with these guys. Like you see right now, Linus is down like 100 plus K. Like you could do that, and I don't know how much money you're willing to lose, but like, or you could just not be good. I don't know. You could just lose a lot and it'll never happen. And I'm not being like a dream killer. I'm just being
Yeah.
realistic. I'm like, if you see somebody that has gone through stakes at a absolute light speed, there's probably two things at work. They're probably very, 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 very good, and plus a lot of luck, right? Like, because if you hear some of the stories of people, I took my whole bankroll and I won, and I started winning, and I won a streak. They might have just went on a hot streak and they were good, but then what about the person that was just as good and then they went on a really negative varying streak? They lost 250,000 and then they quit poker and never played again. But they were similarly skilled to the other player, and then you never heard of them again because they lost so much money, it hurt them so bad they never play. You never hear of that because they're gone. And like, you have to understand, like, that's like, if you're someone who's chasing the dream of the high stakes, just keep that in the back of your mind. That's both a positive and a negative, by the way. It's not all negative, because it's positive in the sense that like, it's okay, take your time, and variance is a huge part, and a lot of timing and luck, and not just luck on the table, luck off the table and things like that. But yeah.
Yeah, for every Mike McDermott, there's probably like what, 9 worm or more.
Yeah.
For who it's highway time. I like that a lot, actually. Yeah, we always kind of like focus. I mean, it's a very interesting world, because it's like money is very important to a lot of people, as it should be. Some because they want to just get nice things, some because they want to get financial security. But realistically, like, you're right, you don't need to play high stakes to like make a living and potentially be happy. I feel like for me, I was stuck at no limit 25 for so long that when I finally made it out of its limits, I was like, that's it, I beat poker. Like I can just from here, anything is bonus, like. And then now, obviously, I'm at no limit 50. Of course, I do want to move to 100, but there isn't like this feeling of urgency, especially because I'm playing as a recreational player.
What limits do you play right now?
I'm starting to play 100s mostly because a lot of the people that we had on the stream, they recommended to me they say like, oh, the regs are not that much, because I was telling them every time I shot take 100, I felt like the regs were much better. So they've been recommending me a bunch of things. One of them was to not play fast table, and the other one was to try to move up if I'm rolled for it. And I'm definitely overrolled for 50, but I just wanted to play that limit for a long time until I felt like I actually improved a bunch. And then now I started playing 100. Obviously, it's a small sample because it's only been a few sessions, but it's going pretty well so far. So,
oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good advice by them. It's the regs aren't as much different, especially 50 to 100. I think there's like a misconception that regs are like unworldly, and when you move up, you have that feeling like, oh my god, these guys know everything and they know they're gonna own me, and they are better. Like naturally, as you move up, they get better, but it's not as like I went through that mistake. Not, I wouldn't call it a mistake, but each level I moved up, I'm like, oh my god, like when I started playing, like these guys are crazy, they're so good, and then when you play a little bit, it's like, yeah, they're just people.
yeah, for
they're
sure.
decent, they're decent here, they're bad here, they're good here. You know what I mean? It's just like it's not as huge of a step up.
Actually, so I streamed a session last night, and then I had a couple interesting hands. So I was like, I'll share some of them because I was talking about this with someone, and they were like, oh yeah, you probably could share, some hands in like public discords and then see what people think. And then so I'm in Benabadbit's Discord, and I shared this one hand where I open ace 10 off in a hijack, button flats, and then it comes 10 jack 8. And then I check call a small bet, turn is ace, so I have two pairs. And then I check call a slight overbet. And then on the river, it's a 6 of hearts, so like no flush got there, so it's ace 10 jack 8 6. I check and the guy jams for 3 times pot. And like in the usual stakes that I play, it's like severely underbluffed. So I was like, well, I'm not really loving it. If he was top 2, it'd probably be harder to fold, but in this case, I just let it go. And I share the hand. I find those spots very interesting too, because like depending on profile and stake, obviously they can be very different. Like I feel like in those games here that we're watching, it's they'd lean a lot more towards call probably. But here I ended up folding, and then I was like asking, because I posted the guy's stats. He has like, it's not a big sample, but he has like 31, 19, 6. And I was asking what people think of the spot, and then a few moments later, I play another hand with that same guy, where he squeezed small blind against cutoff, and it comes like ace king 7. I have ace jack suited, I call, and then we check, turn ace. Then he bets like 40%. I call, so I have trips with a jack kicker. River 4, like so irrelevant, and then he bets like big, but he doesn't like jam over bet or anything. And I was like, well, this I actually can't fold, so I call, and he had tens on like ace king 7 4. So this guy maybe a bit on the aggro side, or like I don't know how close to right / theory this is, but
well, I already know what he's doing. He's probably exploiting the fact that people overfold. He's probably doing it correctly. I was gonna say like that spot's actually probably usually overbluff. If you fold a 2-pair that first hand, I don't know if I would do that. But even at 100, was that at 100 now?
Yeah, 100, yeah.
Yeah, people start. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you that it could be underbluffed at like maybe the tinier stakes, but it's probably actually overbluffed. I feel like a very delicate line where like you literally just a half a combo here or there and you're overbluffing. So it's like people know too that it's generally overfolded at those stakes, like when people 3x shove. So, and I know a lot of the stables, they tell their players that they see that in the data. So a lot of people, they don't even look at their hand. Like the guy had tens, he said, it's like they're just kind of like, hey, I know it's overfold, I'm just gonna bluff everything.
Yeah.
It probably pays off.
It's funny because like you share this type of hand and you get all different kinds of opinions, right? somebody will be like, oh, it's bad. Like if he has the bluffs, then you're losing money, and then somebody will be like, no, he's probably pretty good at its limit. So yeah, that's what makes poker so interesting, right? Like it's very hard to reach consensus on most things, I would
And
say.
that's what keeps the game chugging along.
Yeah.
Right? That's a beauty, because if there was one answer, how would that be interesting? Like say there was like on a test, like it's A, not B, and that's just what it is. There's no other way. Then it's like, then poker's not interesting. So that's what makes it kind of interesting.
Yep. Just gonna catch up on the chat real quick. What's up, Chowser in there? Master Blaster, I answered you. Cydrus said we all can't be like Linus and move up to high stakes after a few years. And then Real Dude said people don't move up from No Limit 10 to No Limit 500 anymore. The students aren't getting scammed. Lol. By the way, people have to understand that if a coach could make the same by playing than by talking to them, they would. Are you saying that anyone that's coaching is not necessarily winning as much as... Like, I feel like that's a topic I've sometimes heard of before. I do think that's like it's normal for people to want to coach because it's like a sure win rate in a way, and also you're studying yourself. I do feel like when you coach, maybe not as much as if you were studying on your own. Why not coaching someone? But it is a form of study as well. So I do, and it's very rewarding as well. So I don't necessarily agree with this. I do think that maybe some of the coaches out there, it's possible that some of them are not being necessarily like the most truthful about their results, but a price usually will be established on some using the win rates that's usually there for a coach somewhere in there. What's your experience with that, Frankie?
Well, I think there's an element of not understanding time value of money, where money today is worth more than money tomorrow. And when money tomorrow is volatile, like poker, it's worth way less money. So if you make hypothetically 100,000 in poker playing, and coaching's 20,000, hypothetically, that 20,000, like a near lock, if you're coaching students, is worth just as much, if not more, when you discount the 100,000 on the wide variation of outcomes. Called time value money, and it's worth way less in today's money, if that makes sense from a financial standpoint. So there's that, and then the second part for me personally, and the first part's why probably most people coach. So people think you coach. Oh, why are you coaching if you're playing? It's because playing is extremely volatile, right? So that's the nutshell one there. And the second point for me personally is I coach because I enjoy it. And you're all mercenaries in this game. You're just playing out there by yourself. Poker is not a team sport, but so it's fun to connect with people and help them and talk to people, like talking to you or anyone. It's just, it's a different type of game. So I think there's two elements that are overlooked with that. And I can't speak to the second for everyone, but I'm pretty sure on the first, most people that coach, that's a huge driver.
Yeah. How is hourly rate usually established? Like, does somebody look at their 200,000 plus hands win rate and then they bump it up a little bit, or they exactly take that hourly, or like how does it work?
I think the market dictates pricing.
Okay.
So there's no, it's a wide variation. I've seen crazy pricing, people who are in the public eye that will charge 1,000 per hour, 2,000. But again, the market dictates that. And because they're in the public eye, they can do that, and somebody's willing to pay. There's nothing wrong with it. Somebody decided they know they have the information available, and they decided to pay that price. And then there's some people that are probably grinding 200 NL and they're doing very well, and they're really maybe a really good coach in general and the way they teach, and they charge 50 an hour. Like, I don't know, it's just like that. People, there is no system. I think people will pay what they pay. The market dictates pricing. And I think an important thing, if you're ever looking for a coach, is do not look for the highest win rate person, that is a huge mistake. You need to understand, you need to do like a call with the person for like 10, 15 minutes or something, or talk to them and be like, am I comfortable with this person engaging? And like, are they able to teach me? You know, Einstein himself, he said he was a bad teacher and he quit on a couple occasions because he knows he's bad, because, you know, one of the brightest guys that ever, you know, walked this earth said he was a bad teacher. He just wasn't good at teaching. He wasn't motivated. He didn't care that much. He just wanted to learn about the universe himself and write theories, you know. So like, obviously that's an exaggerated example, but the point is like there's good teachers and there's good players, and sometimes they overlap. But you need to understand there's like a difference in that dichotomy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, very interesting, for sure. It reminds me actually of like, do you ever play video games? Do you know StarCraft?
I did. So I know your I looked up your background. That's quite interesting, by the way. Being you were one of the better Warcraft players, StarCraft players.
Yeah, I was a pro in both games. Yeah. Did you
That's
dabble
pretty
in
cool.
video games?
So when I was younger, I was like the old school Mario Kart, you know, 007. I had 3 brothers, so
I mean, these are like literally the best games.
What's that?
These are the best games. Like the
I know, aren't they? They're freaking amazing. I still play them today. I have a system in my house. I still have 64. We still have our original Super Nintendo. And yeah, I used to love those games. The only like real quote unquote game I ever got into, it was in high school, and then after that I kind of like, it was more just poker and other things, but was Battlefield 2142. It was a game online. I don't know if you're familiar with it. I was pretty obsessed with it in high school. I play like 6 hours. I loved it. It was so much fun. But yeah, I never played the StarCraft game.
Yeah. So like we're talking about coaching in StarCraft, there is like this very common build order that's called the 4 gates. So it's like you make 4 gateways and then they can make units for you. And there was like a really famous, like very good player in the European scene. Obviously, he could charge a lot for coaching, and one day somebody hired him for coaching, and they tried to do 3 gateways versus 4, and then in the coaching they showed him the replay, and they were like, "What did I do wrong?" And this is like, I'm laughing because like you were talking about like those that, you know, cannot teach very well, and he was just like, "I cannot help you," and he sent the guy his money because it's like, yeah, it's like if somebody was like, they put out paper and they're like, why am I losing to scissors? You know, like if you know the game well, that's what it feels like. He has 3 gateways against 4. So instead of telling him like, oh no, you need 1 more gateway here, it was just like, I can't help you. And he reimbursed it.
I can't help you. Oh my God. That's funny.
So sick.
That guy's gotta be like, he just gotta put his head down and feel so bad about life. Like, oh my, I suck. I would never say that.
Yeah, this is wild for sure.
Crazy. That's a funny story.
Yeah. A classic.
Hey, that was an interesting hand. I don't know if you saw Beppy there. I'm trying to replay it here.
Which side left?
Yeah, there was an all-in on the left. It was Beppy in 5K. 3-bet pot, B versus B. He just had it up it was on the left side. I don't know. It was one of the show tables, show 2, I think. Or no, maybe it was the right side. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'll find it, man.
Yes.
I'll find it.
Yeah, it just happened. 3-bet B versus B.
Pepe and who is it? Oh, and Enlight. Okay, I found it. I got it. I'll pull it up on the stream.
I don't know 5K. I haven't seen this 5K guy.
I'm guessing, so it's like a gaming nickname. I'm guessing this is recreational.
He's a wreck. Yeah, I just saw the stack. I didn't see the stack until right now. Yeah, he's clearly a wreck.
And also that nickname hints video games. Like Dota would be like, you know, where you can get a 5K MMR would be very high, by the way, in Dota, like pretty high.
Oh, is it? Okay, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
So in this hand, Beppe opens. No, wait, that's not the one. You just raised in one. Okay, let me find the exact.
Okay, now this makes more sense. This guy's a wreck, because I thought that was I didn't know who that was at first, but it was still kind of an interesting hand.
I found it. All right, so 5K MMR is in a small blind. He opens 3x. Beppe 3-bets the big blind to 9 big blinds. We get a call, 9-5 deuce. And Beppe continues. 5K MMR calls. Jack of diamonds. Anything to note here on this type of boards are kind of like the harder ones for me personally. I feel like once you have like, it's not quite like Broadway's or low cards, it's like a bit of both, right? And then you have like the Jack 9, like, so those middling cards always, as a not very well studied person, I never really know how to proceed.
Yeah, it's tricky because the ranges are super polarized. It's tough to visualize. Like a linear range is a lot easier to visualize, right? Like I got Jack 10, I got Queen Jack, and aces and tens. Like, but when you're playing big blinds, like I got like King 8 offsuits, I got Jack 5 suited. So it's like it's definitely trickier for sure. A lot of times, just given your range is so polarized, you can like dumb it down to a heuristic of like you can just go for like medium to large bets and polarize, because like range betting when you have all that yucky stuff in your range is typically not going to be much of a thing, with exceptions. But so like a good heuristic is like, hey, I know you at least have like middle tens and higher, the dominant hammer in the hand. Like in this board, like ace 9 plus, tens plus. Well, tens plus like your opponent doesn't have. So like you can polarize. You can always just think, okay, I can polarize around those, because those have gobs of equity, gobs of EV in this hand. They have a hammer lock, so like he is going large here. So he's probably what he's doing. Well, I think he went B40 actually, but anyways, you can polarize on those kind of boards and then just mix up your bluffs. You can put some traditional stuff, like flush draws, but also like I said, you're gonna have like hands like Jack 8 suited, which you're gonna definitely want, like Jack 8 offsuit with like one club. That would be a nice hand to put in there on the flop, stuff like that.
Well, is there hands that like would be considered weak, so to speak, that you will keep barreling, like either whether it's on the turn or river?
Yeah, you definitely want to get thin value in these spots for sure. It's board dependent, but for sure, like ace 9 on the turn, like you could probably still barrel that, because it depends on your sizing flop. Like I think he used B40 flop, and it like 5K won't have that much Jack X. He'll have like some Jack X of clubs and maybe a couple spade ones. So he'll have some, but depending on the opponent too. Like this is like clearly a rack, and if you have a hand like 9X, you could ace 9, maybe you could just keep barreling. Tens could keep barreling. So.
Okay, so we do get a call from 5K MMR. 8 of clubs on the river. I have a question actually about this spot, like specifically, because I had when I played last night, I had one of those where like I bet bets, and then somebody that was calling in the big blind, I believe, just let jam into me. How do you determine whether they might have a flush or not? It feels like you can't fold every time. But
yeah, flush king.
It was like call, and then like lead jam, and then it was just like SPR1. But it was a small pot. Like the guy was a short stack.
Yeah, I think those spots are generally underbluffed if I'm remembering the heuristic. It doesn't happen that often, but
yeah,
I think those spots are generally underbluffed from an NDA perspective. But it depends too, like how wrecky was he. I'm assuming he's a wreck. I guess you could develop that, but I don't see too many regs do that. So I'm assuming he's more recreational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here, like let's say you have aces without a club. If you're Beppe and like 5K MMR jams into you, what would you think of this whole spot?
I'd be like FML first off. Like, you're playing a rack, you get like a beautiful flop, a beautiful turn, and then like a very murky river comes in and the rack jams on you. You're kind of like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be very player specific. Like if it was a random rack that I did no data on, if I had aces, no club, I mean, I almost feel like that would be a fold. Just like I think the MDA in that spot is they would be under bluffing, but again, I would definitely would want to use any piece of information I had additionally. Like if I had any other hand sample or data on that specific opponent, then I would deviate otherwise. If I knew they could get mergy there, then I don't know, I probably wouldn't consider folding. But I think generally the fold would be in order.
Yeah. In this case, Beppe has it easy because it's checked to him and he's the one who jams and gets called, and he rivered it. That's wild, actually.
Yeah, he lucked out there, and looks like 5K. I didn't remember the time bank. I saw it at the corner of my eye, but I don't think he took too long call. So, you know, it's when the flush comes in, you got all this. I mean, ace nine is it's going to be pretty low end here, but yeah, he's a wreck. Hopefully a lot of people see this hand, and if you see, don't ever get scared when the flush comes in, especially you're playing a wreck. Like, you need to be shoving. Like, for Beppe, this wasn't even a thought, but
Yeah.
I seen people check back in these spots, like weaker players, especially like coaching people. Like, sometimes you'll see situations like this where like they get all like, I don't know, the flush came in, should I shove? Like, when you're playing a weak wreck like that, you need to be shoving these spots, because look, he calls it the ace nine. Like, they have all this merge. They play sporadically, and it's like you need to be getting this low end. Like, it would be a huge blunder to check back. Like, obviously Beppe wouldn't do that, but just for people out there.
And how do you proceed on the river blank here if you're Beppe? Like, let's say it's like a deuce of hearts on the river, then do you think the plan was still to jam, or is it a give up?
Good question. Well, I think generally I'd be careful with the bluff range, especially in, like, I think you could actually have some showdown. So I would lean towards check back, because he's going, if it's like a deuce of hearts, like, he's going to have some worst club. And he's recreational. Like, he could have floated like some 10-8. He could have like 10-8 spades. He could have had, like 6-7, 7-8 type hands, maybe 3-4. So I think like ultimately you'd have like 5% equity in the hand if it was like a deuce. I think that's enough where like you'd probably get overcalled anyways by the one pairs.
Yeah.
So and again, this is B versus B, so you're gonna have some better bluffs in range, like maybe like a queen 3 or something offsuit, or something like. No, you wouldn't have that in range. So that's actually not a hand that's in range. But you'll have something better that you could potentially shove. Like a 6-7 might be better, or 4-6 type of combo in that situation. So it's easy to overbluff those B versus B spots. And I just think most, like I said, you have a little bit of equity, and I don't think a wreck, like, the wreck's not interested in folding a 9x, when the flush comes in, a bunch of other hands that he could be beat to. So I'd tread carefully.
All right. Great. Yeah, thank you. Very, very enlightening. Definitely, I learned something here too. The player pool, by the way, right now is very interesting because we have Prodigy who joined the tables, and Sherry Sweet as well hopping in there. One of the players that played in the mid-stakes championship. He played a little bit so far in this challenge, but not too much. And Linus just sat at one of the tables.
Yeah. I thought Sherry was familiar to me, actually. Yeah, that's interesting. The whole competition got interesting when Kevin just went on Tyrant, and just went up massively. And Davy's, Davy hasn't played as much. He's playing a steady amount, but Kevin's just playing so many hands. He's wide in the gap to, like, I guess it's at like 80 today. 80,000. And the competition got interesting. And even like, Prodigy's been sneakily rising the last few weeks. And even Limitless, who tomorrow I'm actually going to come out and video on, is he's kind of been sneaking up there too. Like, Prodigy and Limitless. It's kind of interesting how this is kind of done in the last week here.
Yeah, for sure. We can have a look at the leaderboard. Probably just let me catch up on the chat first. Real quick, Master Blaster was talking about CFPs and people doing their research. Well, if you have any story or insights, then would love to hear about it, because I feel like I don't know a ton about CFP personally. So, yeah, it would be great if you could tell us more.
Sorry. Yeah. Hey, 1 second. I'll be right back. A couple of minutes. I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
All right. And Kerajuk said Davy Jones played the necessary 20k hands left and refused to elaborate. I like that meme, but I don't think he left. I think he'll be back. He didn't play yesterday. I'm guessing there was a break for him. I think taking at least 1 day break a week is probably the right way to do it. Although Kevin does not seem too interested in that, as he's grinding an insane amount of hours. But yeah, I think Davy is being in contention for the first place finish and the trophy, which is a Rolex. I'm pretty sure we'll see him back for the rest of the challenge. I think it would be smart to take 2 days off and then just play for the next 7 days or so if he's really in the running for the top spot. And we'll go over the leaderboard with Frankie when he's back here in a second, but I guess I'll bring it up here too for you guys. So Kevin yesterday, a little under 2K hands, dropped 2 binds. Davy didn't play. Biluzin still climbing, now top 3. Not a ton of hands, but steady win rates. Mr. Lumberjack still very high up there. Limitless, few hands. A lot of people took a break, it seems. Like none of these guys played a hand yesterday. Like you see the number of what was played yesterday here next to. So all of these guys, for example, didn't play. Jungle, not quite on the heater that he was on the starts. Just play only 82 hands. Small sample. And Light winning a little. And Linus still trying to climb out of the hole. Wins almost 3 binds in 1,200 hands. Now EV-wise down 100K. Real result-wise, not as good. Minus 23. Davy did play yesterday. Yeah, I thought he did. Maybe he played... Yeah, no, I don't know actually why. I should ask. I'm not sure the way the update... I think it's possible maybe the update or the data for the update is gathered in the evening and then uploaded in the morning because... Yeah, it happened this morning at 10 a.m., but maybe they took the data last night at like 11 p.m. or 1 a.m., and then Davy played after that. I don't know. It's kind of strange. Oh, there's the VIP game, by the way, today. Let me give you guys a reminder on the lineup. So it's going to be Derp for the most losses. Seems like he went on a downswing, unfortunately. Davy for running the worst. TaxHere for the most hands played. It's a week-by-week basis, by the way. You might be like, oh, Linus runs the worst. But week by week, apparently, Davy ran more under EV than Linus. And then Llama for streaming and recording content. And then there'll be a vote for the coolest hand on social media. And he will begin at 7 p.m. tonight. I don't know who's going to stream it. Last week, it was Kaki. And last week, I believe it was Frankie C, right? That played in it? Or was that? I know one time we had, I think it might have been Frankie C. And then the time before that was Ryan DePaulo with the famous hands with Linus. Linus is not running too hot. You really think Kevin takes a day off with less than 2K hands? Kevin's a goat. I saw a hand, by the way, that was... Well, that looked interesting, and I'll bring it up when Frank is back with him. Yeah, I think I'm going to do... this stream is not going to be super long, and then I'll take a break in the afternoon and come back later tonight. I have another guest already scheduled. And then for the guests scheduled for the near future, I can update you guys. We have on Monday, 3 p.m. Central European Time, we have Exploitable. Who's actually, where is he on the leaderboards? Okay, not doing too hot now. Down 4 binds in EV, 5K hands. So we're gonna have Exploitable. Then we'll have at 10:30 p.m. CET, we'll have Ben Abadbeat make a return on Monday as well. Wednesday, we'll have Jared Alderman. And still working on scheduling more guests. We're going to hear for sure, I think, from Kevin. And considering how much he's playing, I think maybe after the challenge ends, so like on a week from now on Sunday, it ends at 1 a.m. Would be like last time, pretty much. Table stopped. No, they didn't. Did they? Oh, they froze for a second, maybe. Oh yeah, the players are talking about it. Not like this. Time has been stopped. Beppe says it's working for him, but we're still in kind of on this. He's not doing anything. Ask Kevin if he's ever going to come back to streaming. Probably not. Wait, he streamed before. That is not something I was aware of. And at Chowser, by the way, you said you went from No Limit 10 to No Limit 500. How long did it take you? Maybe we should have you on the stream. Tell a story if you want.
Oh yeah, and I'm back.
Welcome back. It seems like the tables are like frozen right now. It's kind of weird. Oh, some of them
really?
resumed. Yeah.
Interesting. Oh yeah, I see in the chat someone's complaining. I see Rig's complaining.
Oh, yeah, really strange. I do have a hand, by the way, that looked interesting. If you want to have a look.
Yeah.
All right, I'll bring it up. Something we started doing was focusing on one of the players' point of view. And here we can do... Let's do exploitable. He has pocket eights in the small blind. So Jerry Wu opens cutoff, exploitable flats, small blinds. And he flops a boat. Pocket eights, 8-6-6. It checks around. And then I asked specifically for his point of view because when I have in this case the board is paired, but when I have a set on a flush board, I never really know what to do. I mean, here it's much easier to play because he's not worried about facing a flush since he already has a boat. But I guess still, you have to consider like how much is the right amount to bet, or like do you want to bet or like try to check raise? So how do you proceed here if you're exploitable and you have pocket eights?
Oh, he has pocket eights right here in a small blind.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, lots of ways to proceed. I mean, they're tricky spots. You have a narrow type range, so a lot of times you want to have a balanced approach because there's not like leading type range situations going on. And the flush comes in is interesting as well. I mean, I think it's kind of like a mixed strategy of, at least that I would approach this, where I'd layer in some checks here, kind of protect the range. And because you got a lot of this middling like 5s, 7s, 9s, 10s, especially on club, where you just can't like do much with, but you don't want to have no strong hands in that type of range. So I think that would be in order, some of that. And at the same time, in terms of leads, I mean, I feel like its small bet strategy would be nice here because you don't have a lot of strong hands in range, really. I mean, he has eights here. He happens to have that, but there's not a lot else. There's some flushes he has. So, and Jerry should be checking some strong hands as well, and some like flush draws that now are flushes. So, I feel like I'd mix like maybe small okay. Sizing and mix some check-in. That'd be my approach. There could be multiple ways to approach this, though.
As a non-well-studied individual that doesn't play high stakes, here I would be thinking of some one club hands specifically that I'm targeting. So I think I might just end up betting probably too big because of that, hoping that there is an ace of clubs or king of clubs, or do you think those would bet the flop like so often that it's not good to tunnel vision on those?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, if you want to bet large, I think it's fine. The problem is like you don't have a ton of value in the support. I mean, you have some. Um, I guess you could have deuces. I guess this is a no rake game, so you would have deuces, maybe at a higher frequency that would all. So the no rake feature, I haven't played a no rake game, so I'm not as well studied on those ranges, but it would widen quite a bit because I do play flats from the small blind at like 500 and 1K, but it's it's a narrow quote unquote thing because of the rake. The
Yeah.
rake, it starts to become more viable than like 200 or 100 now, but a no rake, I guess, now I'm thinking about it, his range would be a lot wider than what I'm used to playing. So yeah, I mean, you definitely could develop that as well, but
Okay, 1 second. When I see Kevin and Prodigy, I get excited. So just gonna pay attention
yeah,
to
I
this.
just saw this hand too. Yeah, he's tanking here. Looks like a river decision. King 2 probably a 3-bet pot. I didn't see the action, but that'd be my guess.
Prodigy sat there with pocket tens. What do I do?
Yeah. Hopefully we get some sick here. I'll call. I mean, yeah, I wish I knew the action before, but we'll see what he
Okay,
does.
we'll replay it after.
Okay, here we go. So he does. Okay. Oops. Oopsie.
Yeah, whoops. All right, I'll replay it after the one that we were doing here. So
Okay.
so here with the pocket eights, exploitable checks, and when facing a bet, goes for the check raise.
Yeah, so he did lower in a check. That's nice. Okay.
Jerry calls, ace of diamonds on the river. Exploitable bets, pretty much pots. And Jerry jams. What the hell is going? Like, why did he check raise over lead in the turn?
Why did
On the
he check
turn.
raise? What?
No, why did he check raise over leading? Like, how do you decide that? Like, why not just lead himself on the turn?
Well, it could be mixed, but like I was saying, like one of the things you want to think about, especially in like small blind here, when you have a lot of these mid small pocket pairs, is like you don't have a ton of strong hands to protect that, and I think it's important to layer in the stuff, or people can just over exploit you with large bets turn river if your whole range is like 5s and 7s and 9s, and then maybe some ace high floats type situation. So I think it's just a strategy where he doesn't have like a lot of nutted hands. He'll have some flushes, of course, but also like the beauty of like eights too is like you're gonna do some leads from like a king queen of a club versus like ace jack of a club or something like that, where if you have like king queen of clubs or ace queen of clubs, you're blocking that region. So like eights is unblocking that region, so you can level some extra bets from that
Okay.
region with the check raise. So I think he's probably thinking about some of those things.
Okay, and so once he does that, then on the river he bets pots and he gets jammed on. Like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, I mean, aces is squarely in Jerry's range. It's a hand that would play exactly in this manner, but I guess I guess yeah, he's Jerry's essentially representing. He could have twos and play this way, aces, maybe ace six suited, one combo, but I guess that could check back flop occasionally.
What about a six? A six would have always bet the flop, you think?
I don't know if it would always bet the flop, but I think I think he's representing a very narrow range. If exploitive has eights, I don't see how you fold, but it kind of is a just shitty spot if that's I don't know. The thing is with eights too, like I said, he could have twos and play this way. It's not out of the realm of possibility. So like you're beating value. So I don't think there's any folding being done. But
Yeah.
I think Jerry's. Yeah, I mean it's basically like aces, maybe twos. There's not much else. Maybe ace-6 of spades, but it'd be interesting what he'd choose for bluff combos here.
Yeah, so I was thinking a 6, right? Because I feel like that's what came up. But now because of the whole hands, it does seem like he would mostly bet any sort of 6 on the flop. And then because it's a paired board, obviously, like stuff like ace of clubs or just a king of clubs seem less likely. And also, yeah, it's very unique position, right? Where it's small blind flat, which I assume you give some strength on this run out. Give some
I feel
strength.
like, yeah, I feel like ace deuce could be maybe an interesting bluff, but it could play that way potentially as a merge on the turn as a bet. Maybe could fold out some pairs, and then it'd probably be a lower frequency. And ace-8 also could. I don't know how often to get here like this, so it's a very narrow bluff range for sure. I mean, he's probably just trying to fold out flushes, so anything that's unblocking that flush region, like ace-2, ace-8, would be kind of interesting. I mean, you're
Yeah.
blocking full houses. Those definitely could be cool bluffs for sure. Or, yeah, those would be pretty cool.
I feel like the parameters for which I'd be inclined to fold this is if I'm playing in Vegas and I have like a 16-hour session, it's like 7 a.m. and I'm just like falling asleep at the table, and then this old man just shows up with a hat and he's drinking coffee. He just jams here. And I'm like, yeah, unless I have 6s, I'm folding everything out.
Yeah, I in that situation, I know exactly who you're talking about, the archetype, and it's been a little while since I played live, but I know those archetypes well, and yeah, I wouldn't.
The old man Kofi, the OMC.
Yeah, that guy who's like, and he's wearing the casino hat, like whatever casino he's playing at. He's got like the jacket and like he's maybe like a World Series or like a mid stakes poker tour jacket or something. I don't know, or a World Series of poker hat.
You're dead on the river here. It's been nice to flop a boat, but it's time to fold now.
Yeah, so he does have aces. Okay, yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that's his most likely value hand here. There's not a lot of combos, but yeah, that one makes the most sense because aces would want to be checking back a lot in the flop. It's a nice protection hand. It'd play that way exactly on the turn, and then yeah. Did Exploitative think at all? I'm just curious. Or did he just snap?
I don't think I saw. I don't remember.
Okay. I was just curious.
I have a question then about the check back flop because personally, again, not very well studied or anything. I do feel like if it was 5, 6, 8 or 6, 7, 8, then I'd lean a lot more towards check back. But now because the board is paired, right? So it's the fact that it's paired makes it less likely. I feel like somebody as a set, because otherwise, they'd have either they'd have a boat, right? The only set, or I guess technically he could have trips, but I don't know about the 6x suited that will flat in a small blind necessarily, even in my games. So why check back the aces here?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's because when you're playing a condensed range like the small blind, it's not so much to do with the fact that they can have a lot of nuts in range as it is that they have a lot less air in range, and you from the cutoff have a lot of air. So it's tougher to get away with range bets and single raise pots when you're playing the small blind versus the big blind who has a wide range, if that makes sense. So small blind is more condensed around pocket pair region and stronger, Broadway. So they can defend a lot. And that's one of the problems. You can't just abuse your whole range. Like you can't get away with range bets. So in order to protect your check back range, a lot of times like aces that doesn't worry as much about getting outdrawn is a nice hand to mix in for checkbacks and defend on turn river, because otherwise, you're just gonna have too much air in a range to get away with a range bet in the flop. And then if you check back and you never put these like strong overpairs in your range or any type of protection, you're pretty vacant that region for defense turn river. So it's not like you're worried here in aces on flop that you're being outdrawn. It's more of you're thinking of the future of your range.
Okay. I know. Good explanation. To me, like this type of thing, it's like it's very easy for me to mistake, right? I might get like a similar board next time, but then on that one, I probably wanted to bet a lot more than check. So it's kind of hard to distinguish them from one another sometimes. Can lead to some mistake for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would say too, like a lot of people don't play calls from flat small blind, and then at your stakes, if they're flatting from the small blind, they're more recreational usually. So it's not like something you have to worry about because a recreational now there's something distinct here. If it's a rec that calls from the small blind,
yeah,
total different situation where their range. I mean, it's actually a board that's actually good for them because their range turns like more big blindy. So they have a much wider range and that changes things. But then again, the offset would be if they're wrecked, they would have a lot of different 6x, so it might still be worth it. But then again, it doesn't really matter. It's you can play a lot of different strategies versus Rex, and it's probably better just to bet and get max value because they tend to just not give up on their merge part of the range very often, at least till river. So
yeah, at my stakes, you're not supposed to flat a lot in small blind because the rake is high, but some regs, they can't help themselves. You know, they get those middling pocket pairs and they want to see a flop, see if they can get a set. And sometimes I look at it and I'm like, do you think I don't have eyes or something? Like, do you think I don't know what's happening right now? Like, like the check raise you on the dry board or like something. Sometimes it's like a little too much.
Right, yeah.
I'll find the Prodigy hand that we saw earlier.
Yeah, that was interesting. First, the leader of the competition, Kevin's very consistent. He did pretty well last year, leading now.
Did you see Kevin's Instagram post that he made recently?
No, I'm not on Instagram, so I didn't see.
You don't use social media at all, or?
I'm on like I'm really not good at social media. I use X sometimes. I started it with poker, but I'm not really active on like any social media.
Yeah,
it's more of like an efficiency thing for me. It's just like being efficient with my time. I do like it though, but it's.
I sent it to you. There's like multiple photos, so browse through it and enjoy.
Oh, nice. Seems like he likes life.
He sure does. I'm struggling to find that hand. Where is it? Oh, I found it. Okay, let me know when you're done marveling at Kevin's life.
Yeah, the grass is always greener, but it's,
It's a pretty sick post though, right? Like if you think high stakes poker, like it doesn't get any better than this.
Yeah, he's definitely got the life of a high stakes, the whole thing. But yeah, that's cool. Good for him. All right, so
so this hand was an open by Prodigy on the button. Wait, how deep are we? 102 big blinds. So open 2.5. Kevin goes 1.2. Okay, in the big blinds. We get a call. King, deuce. Kevin continues. Against, like, is this the main sizing for big blind against button when you 3-bet and get this board? Or I guess, like, is it, I guess, not that big a difference whether you go like quarter, third pot, or 40%?
Well, Kevin's basically saying I have a dominant amount of ace, king, queen here, and you don't have that as much,
Yeah.
Mostly the ace, king, and but it's a good board overall for Kevin. So yeah, it's.
But
you could choose a lot of different strategies here. I feel like.
Yeah, Prodigy knows that Kevin knows that, and that he's gonna make this bet. So he ends up calling 9 of hearts on the turn. And Kevin continues for half, setting up a river jam potentially.
Yeah. I mean, I would say the bottom of his value range here in turn is probably like, let's see, probably like, you could do this with like queens, probably. Even maybe jacks, I'm going to say. So maybe at the lower frequency, but yeah.
We get another call. And so here specifically, we saw that Prodigy had ace-queen suited, I believe it was. So what is he thinking? when he calls, like, obviously the flop is not folding, but then on the turn here, he doesn't have a backdoor flush draw. He just has ace queen high. So is it just like he thinks if Kevin has like some sort of queen jack, jack 10, he's going to continue a lot here on this type of turn?
Yeah, I think he has like a dominant value blocker. Like when I was briefly going over Kevin's value range, I mean like king, queen, ace, king, aces, maybe even queens. He's blocking all of that, So ace queen has showdown value as well. It can go check river. He can just take the pot. So I think Owen's hand is very I wouldn't say very strong. It's fairly strong here, given those properties. It has showdown value. It's blocking a lot of Kevin's strong value. So, and another thing to think about, and is this is a total rainbow board here too. So he's gonna need to find some of these calls to defend correctly. I mean, it's only a 50% bet here, so he needs to defend like 3/4 of his range or so. 2/3 of a range or so here. So I mean, he needs to do more than just king X and some pocket pairs.
It's only a 50% bet, bro. That's my whole bankroll. What do you mean?
Yeah, I know, right? Sometimes you forget. Like, yeah, it's crazy.
So he calls with ace queen suited and deuce of hearts on the river. I guess is it ever? I would guess it's not that easy at these stakes and with how good these guys are. But is it like if I call turn, then I'm definitely looking up river, or are you still kind of re-evaluating street by street? Like, is the decision already made here sometimes?
Yeah, I think some opponents, yes. Some opponents, yes. A lot of times it's got to be street by street, but there are some opponents where you can think in your head, and depending on the river, like most blank rivers, yes, continue. Like I definitely preempt some things for some opponents. Like if I know if I'm getting a blank river and this opponent shoves, like I feel very good about a call. So it's player dependent, I would say.
Yeah. And yeah, we did see a call by Prodigy he put his cape on at the wrong time, ran into a boat, Kevin with a king, queen offsuit. That would have been a sick call though if he was right, imagine.
Yeah, it would have been cool. Kevin shows up like Jack 10, which Jack 10 seems like a very reasonable bluff here, blocking some of the king X.
How often do you think he expects to chop against another ace?
I don't know if Kevin would shove an ace because he's basically, he's losing to most value. He chops sometimes. I guess he could fold out some ace X. It's probably over bluffing if he's bluffing an ace here.
Yeah,
I think Prodigy at the end of the day has great blockers versus the value range, and he's just making a call. He might be RNGing here. I don't know, but I think this is a fine hero.
Okay.
Hero play because of those things.
Unfortunately, he ran into it here. And Kevin, maybe taking even more of a lead on those leaderboards.
Yeah, Kevin's he plays so much, but he's also really good. So he's hard to beat because of that. And a competition like this, he puts in the time and he executes. By the way, where's his pick at? He had a pick of Uncle Sam there, and it's no more.
I think it disappears sometimes, but then it's still there. It's just like not appearing consistently. Sometimes it only appears on some of the tables as well. So I would guess it's still there, just like a little bit glitched at times.
I was like, why in the middle of a competition he cares that much about a pick to change it? I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah. Did we go over the leaderboards together?
No, we haven't.
Okay, let's do it. So a lot of players took a break yesterday. I think Davy was playing, but somehow his hands are not included. So I don't know exactly when the updates. It might be like the data was collected in the evening and uploaded in the morning, and he played after the data was collected or something. But yeah, we see he had no hand added. Like the small number here is what happened yesterday. So we see Kevin played 1,700 hands and lost 2 buy-ins in EV. And Biluzin closing in at the top to Davy now, 245K in EV currently. Pretty good volume. Let's see if
Yeah,
there's...
he's Biluzin, whatever you pronounce that. He's been playing very well.
Has been in the mix quite a bit for sure. And yeah, around the bottom of the leaderboard, Linus, we see yesterday 1,200 hands plus 3 binds in EV. So he's under 100K in EV now. Nice recovery. He was at minus 185, I believe it might have been. But result-wise, minus 230. 13 binds under EV. Not ideal.
Yeah, that sucks. I'm sure he's got plenty of roll, but it shows you the variance in this competition can be pretty wide here.
And Matt Marinelli, who you did an interview / podcast with, minus 6 binds in EV after 25K hands. Played a little bit yesterday, lost a little bit.
Yeah, he's been grinding back from down. He had a big day a couple days ago. It's good to see, but...
That was funny, by the way, your interview with him. Like the first thing is like you intro him and he's like, you need to say, like you should say Avril Lavigne better, like pronounce it better. It's more important than my name.
So I know, that was funny.
He's a true fan.
Yeah.
A real fan.
Yeah, that was a good interview. He speaks well. It was a good dude.
Jungleman yesterday played a little bit, 82 hands.
Did he?
Yeah, minus 7K.
Where's he at? I didn't see him on there.
Right here, Cherry.
Oh, that's Jungleman?
Yeah. Also talking to him about coming on at some point.
I didn't know that. Yeah, that'd be cool if he put in some volume.
He started very late, so I think he's just kind of like enjoying a little bit of the challenge, but I don't think it's probably not going to be his main ride, especially with just 1 week left after today.
Yeah, you can't really win at this. I mean, I don't even know if you'd have to go on a super high variance streak to have any shot.
Turn on the Kevin mode, 5K hands a day. You know, Kevin did 5K hands a day 3 days in a row. He did 6K one day. I don't even know how that's possible, like physically.
You know, the crazy thing to even put that into context is you can't even think of yourself playing 5K hands because you got to think he's playing the best players in the world, at 5K a day. Sometimes I'll play like heads up against a good reg for like a couple tables for like an hour or two, or maybe 2 hours, 3 hours. And I feel like after that, I'm like, oh my God, that was a lot. And like this guy's playing like the best regs in the world for like hours and hours and hours. It's insane.
Some goat stuff from Kevin for sure. Yeah, I talked to him about coming on actually, and he seemed very open to it, which is cool. But with the volume that he's playing, and considering he's in the leads, and probably wants to play even more, I think the likely scenario is that we'll have him on as the challenge ends next week after it ends at 1 a.m. So
yeah,
that's what happened last time. We had this big call with like 7 people from the challenge, Rigged, who finished seconds, Prodigy, who finished first. So all top 3 were in there.
Yeah, it's coming down. Then it'll be interesting how it finishes.
Anything content-wise for you that you can talk about or tease? Like, do you have any podcast lineup or any video breakdown?
I'll be coming out with something with Run At Once soonish, I guess. I don't know when exactly, but nothing too much. I'm probably going to come out with some new stuff next year. Yeah, I guess I can't say too much about it, but it'll be coming out soon. So hopefully it'll be interesting for people.
How often do you try to post?
Some more people. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
How often do you try to post on YouTube?
Well, lately I've been posting a little more just because of the competition, but I mean, once every couple weeks is generally what I do. But yeah, that's a lot of work to do that stuff. So might go longer between. We'll see next year. As you know, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. I mean, like some stuff is easier to do than other. Like it seems like you like to do more like the breakdown videos of hands and some podcasts as well. How about more like stuff like play and explain?
Yeah, I do a lot of that in run once,
Yeah.
which is easier because I don't have to edit the videos.
Yeah,
So
that's why I
yeah,
was saying that. Like you just pretty much
yeah, a lot
record, you know?
easier. 'Cause I asked another that I like run once is I don't have to edit the videos as much. Because the editing, I like doing. If I could just do a video and be done with it, I'd probably do a lot more. But the editing is like that's the stuff I don't like, and it takes a while. Like I don't think people realize in the background, like editing a video is like even something that seems as simple as like me doing, going over some hands. It takes a lot of like work to
Yeah.
do it. So it's like that's the problem. It's like if I can get around that, I'd probably put more stuff out. I might start doing some stuff like me playing on YouTube. I do most of it on Run It Once right now, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
I think that would be cool to see. Like this is like a very viewer friendly format where a lot of people like to watch stuff like play and explain. So I would definitely recommend like
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
do you know Nevir?
Who's that?
Nevir, he plays like No Limit 50, I think hundreds. Like
Okay.
I've been talking to him about coming on the stream, and like he just posted a video where he talks about like he played 100K hands and like he made a highlight from it, and like the edit is like kind of insane in that I guess he didn't want to talk on his video, so then he does like subtitles on the sides, and also he like when he plays sorry, when he edits he like fast forward through the downtime, so like it's like he goes all in, and then for all the time he's tanking he's like fast forwarding the video, so we go directly to the decision. So like this edit must have taken ages, and basically I was reading the comment, and apparently he said his video got shadow banned, so he put like insane amount of hours into editing, and then YouTube was just like, oh, poker, gambling, shadow ban. It's
Oh, that
I would be
really.
so tilted. Yeah.
I would be very. See, that stuff scares me too because I've already had videos that got restricted and stuff, and all that, whatever, all that stuff that YouTube does with that. And it's, oh my God, it sucks. Cause yeah, I could imagine, yeah, the 100K hands, like the amount of time he put in to probably do that and to get it blocked is more demoralizing than anything you can imagine to
Yeah.
continue to do videos.
I don't know why.
That's
Like it's so weird, this stuff. Like even like on multiple platforms, they're being really weird around poker. Like it seems like most people they equate poker to like, some sort of like roulette table or like, I don't know, a slot machine, whatever. And then
Yeah, it's been the age-old thing, the battle that's been fought for years. Even though in the US, like sports betting's legal, you can bet on like who's gonna fumble first, but it's like you can't.
or you can bet on the Gatorade color of the Super Bowl. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's like what the heck is that about? Like you're telling me I can't play a game of poker? Like look at these guys playing. Like this is like a thoughtful game, and you're telling me I can't do that, but we can, yeah, bet on the Gatorade color. It's like, oh my God. It's like I don't understand it.
There's some sickos out there. They're like, I picked up on a pattern. It's gonna be blue.
Right, right, yeah.
The wild words.
Easy exploit, dude.
But so now, sports betting is like legal almost everywhere in the US.
Yeah, pretty much everywhere. States have kind of done some of their own thing, but yeah, you can sports bet anywhere. I mean,
But like,
it,
how did it happen? Was it like the commander in chief or something was behind that, or it was just like through like lobbying, or happened like naturally everywhere?
yeah, I forgot the exact rundown of it, how it came to be. A little bit of everything. There's a lot of lobby money. Obviously, it's way
Yeah,
more than poker. That's why poker is not. Poker doesn't have the legal backing of
yeah.
the NFL and the NBA. Those teams have so much money to lobby. So a lot has to do with that. But yeah, it sucks because poker is too nichey. It's just like there's just not enough money for people to care to change it, even though it's like an easy like snap your fingers and just simply legalize it. That makes no sense, but they just.
Weren't there some presidential candidates that were known to be into poker that maybe could have legalized it?
Yeah, it's just not like it's about it's popular. They just do things that are popular, right? And it's like no one really. Poker's too nichey. Nobody cares. It probably looks bad on them. So, but yeah, for sure. I'm sure a lot of them have or did.
Yeah.
You know,
It seems like it's the most likely scenario for it to become legal. There would have to be like a president that's, somewhat into poker. I think it's like that in Thailand, right? I heard something like, "Oh, the king, he loves smoking weed, so then he legalized it, and then now
oh,
apparently,
really?
yeah, and now poker is legal there as well. Like from one day to another, something like poker was illegal. Suddenly, it's like completely fine. Same with weed.
Well, weed's legal here now too. So pretty much everything is legal minus poker. And
Yeah,
it's like
great.
we legalize legalize marijuana, we legalize sports betting, but poker is still just getting nothing. It's just like
That's sick.
I don't. It's like I'm sitting here as a poker player, like what the hell? It's like
what is this timeline we're living in?
yeah, like what? Come on, what are we doing?
Ooh, Prodigy gets some back from Kevin.
Yeah, it looks like just a cooler jacks versus aces. It was on the flop.
EV wise, that will actually no, that's good. I thought it was pre-flop. I guess it's better that it was on the flop, yeah, EV wise, because obviously the EV matters a lot here for the leaderboards.
Yes. So it's a 4-bet. Yeah, and Kevin just shoves and he snaps. Very, very trivial spot. And we do shove. It's like Kevin chooses jacks with the spade, has a little more equity. So, if you're gonna shove like a mid pair, like tens or like nines or something like that, you're generally gonna want in a 4-bet pot to have spade. It gives you a little extra equity to make that play.
So you're just applying pressure to the non-pair hands.
Yeah, exactly. The ace king is a huge part of that you can apply some pressure. So, and the extra equity from the spade, it makes the play viable.
Yeah. It's very interesting hours wise when the challenge is active, by the way, because I feel like the one from a year ago was much more about like the evening to late nights. Maybe there was more North American players playing as well, with Absolute Top Up being in the mix and playing like some big volume. But yeah, this time it's morning CT a little bit, and then noon into the afternoon, and then later some more in the evening. But not necessarily about the late night. Actually, last night, late night, there was barely any action running.
Yeah, it has been a little bit interesting. Are you talking like Europe time, or are you talking American? Or,
yeah, Central European time, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, usually in the early morning here, it's more like Linus and rigged and stuff, and then the evenings, it's more like Matt Marinelli type and Davy, at least in my time, my time zone. But the one thing you notice with this competition the second year in a row is as the days move on, a lot of people kind of just stop. Obviously, because like when it gets out of reach, when the top 2-3 start branching away, you start seeing kind of the same players, the top 5-10 type players playing a lot of volume. Obviously it gets out of reach for some people. So it's interesting how you kind of see the same dichotomy happening this year as well.
Yeah, some of the players that were shot taking by now and like it didn't go well for them, I think they're done with it. Obviously, it can be a little big if you usually play like 1K, 2K, 5K. To go directly to 10K with those guys, with those animals as well in there.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot more shot takers this year, so the competition must be a little more known and popular. Because I was looking back at last year, it wasn't as many.
It was last year was password protected.
What's that?
The tables were password protected last year, I believe.
Oh, they were,
and not this year. Yeah. And
that makes sense.
The final amount of entrants, I believe, was 43 last time, and now we're with more than 80 in this one. Obviously, some people have like one hand or like 7 hands,
Yeah. What they should do in the leaderboard is like screen out people with less than like maybe 100 hands just to clean things up.
Yeah,
it's
I think
OCD.
At the end, they might do that.
So did you see that Linus hero call against Prodigy? Table, it was
Yeah, I can replay it.
Yeah, show table 3. I thought that was interesting. I didn't see the beginning of it.
It seems like
Looked like a cool hand.
it's three-handed and button against big blinds. About 130 big blinds effective. Single raise spot, Jack 9-6 flush draw. Prodigy continues spot, Linus calls, king on the turn. Prodigy sizes down to half. Linus calls again, and then 7 of diamonds on the river. Prodigy goes pot again. So pot, 50% pot. Linus calls down with the Jack 10 second pair. Medium kicker. Does he think enough flush draws will do that on their own? Because like he's not even bidding a better Jack, right? But he blocks the straights on the board where it didn't pair and also the flush didn't get in.
Yeah, I think blocking the straights is a nice attribute to the hand. The Jack of clubs could be more somewhat interesting. Just I don't know if Prodigy in these stakes would have Jack 9 off, but he will have Jack 9 suited, which he probably might put that in the value bet region. It's a little lower end, but that's a small thing, but potential. So yeah, it definitely seems like it kind of seems like just one of those indifferent hands. I don't know what the frequency would be, but it seems like one of those hands from an EV perspective that Linus can't be losing either way. So it's kind of like that they turn into like decision hands. So I guess what I call decision hands, where like you could just kind of make your decision on what you think your opponent's doing, or if you don't really know, you can just RNG what you think the correct RNG is. But
A very interesting one.
Prodigy like sizes down on turn. It's a nice play because King's a good card for him. He has more like random, king queens of the world. He's king, so he and having double blocking, king x jack x region. It's a nice one. I don't know if he's going to split range turn, but it's definitely if you are going to split range, it's definitely a nice one if you have a medium bet strategy to kind of nestle into there.
Wait a second.
Yeah, I see this hand brewing here.
He went all in and Prodigy wrote Aya in the chat.
Oh, that's funny. 3.5x shove. I didn't see the beginning of this, but this looks great.
Probably this takes a longer time to break down, I guess, because of the bet size being so unusual. So like figuring out how much he has to defend and like what hands.
Yeah, this looks tricky here. Prodigy's been creeping up the board too, and like taking a huge stack off. Kevin is a big deal. Like this hand's a big deal.
So the hand would be 34K if he calls. Wow, does make the call. Great. Oh my!
Oh baby!
Catches him.
Let's break this one down. I love it.
Yeah. Actually, just one last thing about the previous one that we were talking about. So like the Jack 10. In this case, it was incorrect, but as we just saw with the other hand, it's not about let's not be result oriented. I wonder when do you think you need to start making those calls? Is it more about a specific limit, like let's say 200 or 400? You're gonna have to start making those a lot more because players are competent, or is it just always really villain dependent? Because I do think that I've never done NDA, and again, I'm not very well studied, but I do think there is not many bluffs in the lower stakes that I play here. So I'm kind of fine folding a lot.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you at the lower stakes because you would have to understand, like a good player will understand that like, ace 4 of clubs is going to sometimes like ace 5 of like dime, like just random low end hands, like high low hands. Especially this is a no rake game, so like you could even have like a queen 7 that merges and turn a bluff, things like that, like unnatural combos flop that carry 4 into the river. That's the key. Like a more lower stakes player is going to play more traditionally. So like by the time they get the river, like their bluff selection has always been, very standardized type hands, like flush draws and maybe like ace 10, ace queen, which ace queen could still go ahead and bluff river, but you do start to run a little bit lower on the bluff part of the region. So like you could surmise that like, yeah, like dude, you're probably not going to have enough bluffs here. I don't need to call this hand, but people will still have, I think ace queen will still get in there occasionally. But again, like another thing to point out is like ace queen of clubs and ace queen of spades, if you're playing a weaker player, like they're probably just check black flop, right? Like they just play very normal poker, so like they probably don't have that as often. And yeah, so like when you get the river, to your point, I do agree that like I think there's a lot of player types that you can be like, I don't need to do anything here. I could just fold. Like I don't have to hero call.
So what
Now
was
when you play,
the
sorry,
right
go ahead.
the right parameters to call is like I'm facing a competent player, and is there a limit you have in mind, like 200 or not particularly?
Well, I mean, it depends on I think more of the player, but yeah, like I was 500 L plus. People start finding a lot of this stuff. I would say 200 as well, potentially if it's a good opponent. But if we're gonna generalize, I'd say 500 NL plus, like is
Yeah.
where they'll start like at least somewhat getting the frequencies right, like finding those bluffs and finding like another hands in that they could show up where is like a good player, but potentially like twos with the heart, or threes and pocket fours. Like we're like a conventional classic mediocre rag, they'll never find those hands in the flop. And then they'll never have them on the river. And then they probably wouldn't barrel anyways. So that's where like who is a strong enough player to pick up on some of those combos flop that carry to the river. And then they're going to be very itchy to follow through those on the river if they come to the river with like pocket twos or threes or ace four type hands. So that's where like, okay, and then maybe I need to defend at least theory. And is that, I don't know, limit wise, maybe 500 L, I don't know what's the right answer. Maybe 200 L fast fold and higher, maybe. So
Yeah, makes sense. All right, let's see that other hands. 1 second.
yeah, that hand was great. That hand had huge implications. Like I don't know how Prodigy's doing today, but like
he's like doing decent in the where is he in the leaderboard? Oh, he's 6 in the leaderboards, but the thing is like EV wise, it's obviously quite a bit behind. He's at 76k, and then yeah, first place is at 351. So he's a long way, but what was that like?
he's a long way, but
17k, right? Of like pure EV.
Yeah, he's a long way, but the thing is like you've seen some of these moves, right? 100k plus swings up and down.
Yeah,
crazier things have happened. So like you could easily see in the next few days, it's not out of the realm of possibility. You see Prodigy at 170, Kevin goes down to 280, and it's like, I mean, it's there, it's unlikely, but it's just within arm's reach.
Did you know that Kevin has had the 3 best days that anybody has had, by the way?
I do now that I see this.
Isn't that sick? The 3 best. And like in the 10 worst, he's only in there once.
Yeah, that's from a variance standpoint, that's very unusual because you expect someone to play the volume, they'd be both top and bottom. It's interesting. He's got, that's nice. that helps life a lot.
For sure, yeah, for sure. Actually, yeah, we see Marinelli had a really good day too. Day 20 updates, over 10 binds, climbing out of the hole.
Yeah, that was that one day. That was a few days ago where he climbed out a little bit there. So that was nice.
All right, let me find that hand that we saw.
Yeah, that seemed like a really cool hand.
Okay, I got it. So we are 170 big blinds deep. And Kevin opens the button. It's just a single raise spot. It's always wild. That makes it always wilder that it all goes in somehow. But yeah, single raise spot, button versus big blind, 10-7-4 with a flush draw. Kevin continues for 80%. And Prodigy calls
10-8 off. Yeah.
Queen of Hearts on the turn. and Kevin bets pots. Like this seems, like again, like in my stakes, you probably want to fold your 10 here, but those guys, they just play so aggressive that it's like you'll always see those calls here.
Yeah, I would even say at your stakes, I probably wouldn't consider just folding 10x, just because like it's very easy to have natural bluffs here. Like if they're Broadway heavy, right? So like ace king, king jack, ace jack are very natural bluffs. Spade spade, even like jack 9, 8 9, 5 6. There's a lot of natural bluffs, so I'd be hesitant to overfold at almost any stake here. And I think folding too much 10x could be a mistake here.
River 8. Prodigy checks. He's probably thinking, I'm calling a pot size. I'm snapping a pot size bet.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He checks, and Kevin's like, boom.
Change of plans.
And then immediately, Prodigy in the chat wrote, "Aya."
Yeah. No, that was great. So he has 10-8. So when Kevin shoves, like, let's see. I'm thinking through this hand here. Yeah, one of the things when he bets pot in the turn is like the thing that Owen can't. Excuse me. Owen struggles to have as many straights as Kevin, quite obviously, because like a hand like Jack 9 or a hand like 5 6 probably folds. Probably needs to be folding turn. He doesn't have 9 6 minus 9 6 of spades potentially, but so that's in there. Now Jack 9 against pot size bet. I don't even know. It's a very indifferent type hand. So I think, long story short, like Kevin knows that the reason he can shove here is like he has a nice advantage with the straights. So that gives him the green light to develop this like shove strategy, which I think would mostly be straights and maybe like pocket queens. I don't know if you'd want to do much else. Like a hand like queen 10 is probably too low end. You're blocking 10x. So that's probably the value part of the range, which unfortunately Prodigy does not block any of that, but he generally should be unblocking some of the bluff part of the region as well. So, I mean, when you bet the sizing, like I think it was like 3.5x pot or something like that.
Yeah, it's like I think 15K into 4.1.
Yeah, so I mean, Prodigy can only defend probably like a fifth of his range or less or something like that. So that's a lot of folds, right? If you think your opponent's playing like somewhat okay, and this is Kevin, so he's probably playing somewhat okay here, you probably can't deviate too much from that 20%. I'm sure you can go up, I don't know, 30, 40, who knows what the number is, but you know that Kevin's going to have the value part of that region. He's also going to have that bluff part of the region, so it's a difficult spot to like kind of figure out from that sense, where you need to like fold 4/5 of your range. So like everything from Owen's range is pretty much indifferent here, minus of course straights. It's a really tough spot for him. He's just got to make that call in game. And honestly, I don't know what the answer is. So like from his spot, from his perspective, it's really difficult because you're not blocking value, but you generally aren't blocking bluffs.
Probably a pretty sick hand to do like a review on or content.
Yeah, I almost want to. I kind of want to like dig into this one more because he has like a decent amount. He actually can have a decent amount of 2 pairs as played. So it's not like it's a super premium hand for him here. Yeah, I don't know. Like queen 7, queen 4 suited probably gets in there. Queen 10, which are better in the sense where I think Kevin could have queens here. Like I think that might be an okay shove here. So that might be better from that perspective, but it was really cool to see. It's definitely what I want to dig down a little more and think about. But when anyone shoves 3.5x, I mean, you just know like you have to be folding like 4/5 of your range unless you think they're getting out of line, which then you can have some fun with. Get some courage if you think your opponent's getting out of line. Like you talked about that earlier, someone 3x shove or whatever, and it's easy to overbluff these spots. And it's when that happens, you could actually pretty much call all your 2 pairs without question.
Yeah.
But he's playing like very, very good player, so I can't imagine that he's just like, that out of line.
Yeah.
Because like Kevin has incentive not to get too far to line because Owen is a very good player as well, right? Like he calls it 10-8. Clearly he's going to make calls. He's not getting he's over bluff. So it's one of those back and forths. There's just 2 really good players in a very unique, difficult spot, and then Owen just makes the decision and it works out for him this time. So
very nice hand for sure. I see some funny chat, by the way, on one of the tables up there between Prodigy and Enlight. And Enlight is always chatting a whole bunch. I think it's like generally really funny. So they were talking about a hand that happened previously. And then he says, "What do you think I was doing whole year? Went to lab to study you." And Prodigy responds, "Should have studied Kevin Paquet. I'm a one-hit wonder." And then Enlight says, "Got unlucky. This lab was producing methamphetamines. To study Kevin Paquet, need more heavy drugs."
That's hilarious.
The Enlight last challenge last year, he got the award at the end for best chatter. I always found him pretty funny personally.
Yeah, I saw some of his chat last year. It was kind of funny. He's just a shit talker, I guess.
Yeah, I think he's like a bit of everything. Yeah, there's a little bit of cussing, of course, but I think he's like kind of like sarcastic and just likes joking around in the chat a lot too.
Yeah, that's great.
Like he was saying last time, he was saying he will retire when somebody finally bluffs him, and he kept complaining that people are never bluffing.
That's hilarious. Mental edge.
Yeah, Owen asked him, "Why snapping bad catchers?" And he said, "I called for chop."
Mental edge question mark. That's funny.
Does watching this for you like motivate you, extra hard to study even more than usual and get in the mix, lock in, do well?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the day I come on here to compete, which will happen, is the day when I'm mentally and skill wise ready. Like I said, I'm a turtle. I don't care if it's in 5, 10 years or 20 years. I don't care when it is. It doesn't matter to me per se. Time doesn't matter. Well, time matters. The exact timeline, whether it's next year or 10 years, I don't care. But when I do compete, I want to compete, like actually compete. I don't want to play 100 hands and then, tap out. I want to be ready to, compete at a high level and just see what happens. I mean, I'll have to have some downside limit, but I want to actually come out and compete and win. So it's definitely motivating. But these guys are doing some really cool stuff. Like I said, if anyone's watching the showdown hands, like just pull up those hand histories and like really immerse yourself in them and try to understand them. And don't just pull up a solver and like click through and be like, oh, like the King 9 hand. Kevin's King 9 hand was supposed to bluff 25% of the time, and then Owen was supposed to call 10% of the time with his hand. Okay, like that's not learning poker. You're just really like dig down like what they're thinking and why they did what they did, and sometimes when you see them do things that are different, or maybe some people perceive them as wrong, could be a great learning, moment. That's why I like watching these guys. I mean, it's just like a free learning session.
Yeah, I feel like I've learned a lot for sure as well on those streams and getting to talk with some of you guys that are very competent. So definitely beneficial. I feel like a lot of the viewers as well, they get to ask questions a whole bunch. Speaking of, just going to react to the chat real quick. Steve B asked, Munez been playing for 18 hours straight. I sincerely doubt that. I mean, it is possible, but I would have guessed he slept at some point and then got back in the mix. And Cider says, after 1K hands, I feel exhausted. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think Kevin is just some sort of like Superman with the amount of hands that he can put in a day. It was already the same last time. Like, he was playing huge amounts. And then now he's literally like in the US. He played in live games. And just makes like, it seems like his whole life he just enjoys playing cards, you know? Like, he's either playing live or he's playing online. And that's the main thing he likes to do. Do you play live, Frankie, by the way?
I used to do more, not as much recently, but it's fun. It's a fun format, but at the same time, it's like kind of practical to like drive down to the casino and all the extra time it takes and everything, and then
Yeah.
seeing 30 hands an hour, 27 hands an hour versus like what you can do online, and you know the fact that I can fire up a session for a couple hours and then I could study for a couple hours right away is like it's hard to like get around that, you know. Like sometimes at the casino, it's like you know you fold for like an hour and it's like what you know online it's like you know it just takes a couple minutes before you get into some interesting spot that you're like got to think and like have fun with, but then like live it's like it's fun because you know the player types and everything, and you know I do like the actual physical chips. I have some on my desk, I always play with them, but it's just like it's hard to get around that, you know.
Yeah.
It gets boring because of that. Like I don't have to fold, and then I end up doing something stupid because I'm like, I'm not folding this hand. Like I'm tired of, I'm tired of just folding, because you know, I played 3 hours and you see 100 hands. It's like crazy, you know.
Yeah. What's your favorite place that you ever played at live?
Good question. Favorite place that I played live? I don't know. I guess the World Series was fun. I like playing that. That was it's a fun atmosphere and everything. But cash wise, I don't really know. Maybe the Bellagio maybe was cool. I haven't played anywhere too cool. Like
Have you played at the Win?
What's that?
Have you played at the Win?
No.
And Aria?
I don't think. No.
It's these are like my two favorite rooms. next time you're in Vegas, you know where to go.
I know. I actually don't go to Vegas that. I'm pretty far away from Vegas, but
Yeah.
you know, I try to go like around the World Series and then play some tournaments, some cash, stuff like that. But
Interesting. So you go back and forth between both tournaments and cash.
well, mostly around the World Series. I'm like predominantly cash, but
Yeah.
when the World Series comes, I get pretty excited because I always liked it, and it's fun to kind of compete for a bracelet. This is really fun. So I'll start studying them like late spring. I'll start putting some time to studying tournaments. I'll play some online just to kind of like get some reps in, and then go down and play some World Series events, whether it be online or actually go to Vegas. So I mean tournaments are fun. They're fun they're boring for the first like half, and then really boring, and then like the later half they get really exciting.
Yeah. It's I've been disappointed too many times that tournaments kind of put me off now.
Yeah, they tend. I don't know how people play tournaments professionally. Like tournaments, like the amount of variance in cash games a lot, but like compared to tournaments, like you could be like this like really good player, and like if you're a live tournament player, like you could go a whole year of like not winning. Like that's crazy. Like you could just be down. You know what I mean? It's so brutal. It's like
Yeah.
it's like the variance in tournaments is so unbelievably brutal. It's I don't know how people possibly do it, and you make your living like off of like a few big wins, you know. Like if you look at your totality of wins, it's like coming from, you know, these 3 wins in the last few years, you know. Like that's what you're relying on, the big whale. Or like cash is just, you know, it's just like grind, and it's, I guess, quote unquote steadier.
And so, like, do you feel like some of your, or what is it from mainly playing cash that translates well into playing MTTs for you? Because you mentioned obviously like tournaments, right? There is like ICM, all that. So you mentioned like you study from Spring, but what do you feel from your cash experience has helped you perform well in tournaments?
Yeah, I would say for sure post flop is an obvious answer, but it's true. The one thing tournament players like really suck at, tournament players are good, like in what they know, and there's a lot to think about post flop, especially when ICM happens, like how ranges can change so much and how you play versus when there's ICM and not ICM. And that's interesting. And different stack sizes really changes stuff. But I feel like I know enough of the heuristics of that and like the general theory that like when I see people play post flop, even online, I was playing online one, it's like so bad. Like it was like every table was like two regs, two weak regs, and then one good reg. It was like I think like tournament players spend a lot of time, pre-flop and flop probably like understanding those concepts and how that affects things. And but like the post-flop understanding the skills, the of why we do certain things that we do, and like why you never want to check call here and only play check raise, and I don't know, just random things. It's like you don't see people being very aggressive. They play more like a weak reg on like low stakes. How would you describe it? I'm not playing like the best MTT players, so I'm speaking just like like $1,000 buy-in or like
Yeah,
live buy-in or $2,000 live buy-in type tournament or online something like that. So I think the post flop skills definitely translate. You got to tweak some things though. Where I'm weak in tournaments is like there's so many like nuanced things pre-flop that I totally miss all the time. Like whether it be a simple shove spot or like, oh, you're, you don't, this part of the range is never three bet. Like you always want to call here because of this reason. And, just different where you want to defend. And there's so many nuanced things pre-flop and especially when ICM comes into play that like, I know enough, but not nearly what a seasoned tournament player would know.
yeah, makes sense. Hitanet said Munez did not sleep absolute bender session. Do you monitor the tables all day, Hitanet? How do you know that for a fact? That's wild. Hey, pretty sick actually if you played 18 hours. And Strikeback said, hello, what's up? Hello,
That's a
welcome.
lot.
Yeah, 18 hours. I had a couple times where I played like 24 hours, whether live or online. And yeah, I think like when you enter that's past a certain point, I want to say like maybe like 15 or 16 hours, you kind of like hate it. Feels pretty bad.
Yeah, it's for certain people, I think. I think the most I played was 36 live, but that I was young. I was younger and I was just starting in poker and I like loved it so much I didn't want to stop. But like I would never do that ever again. Like it's
Would
just
it
like
also happen that maybe you were down in that session?
I was actually up and I was
Okay,
I
so it
I
was
was
a really
winning.
good game, maybe.
Yeah, I was literally like my second time playing. I was like 16 years old. Like
Oh, okay.
I was up like $1,600 and I was like so much at the time. I was just like, oh my God, this is so fun. And like, I don't know. I just wanted to keep playing and I just didn't go to sleep. My buddies woke up and they're like, you're still here. I was still sitting at the tables whittled down to like five people. It's
Yeah,
like, you know, but yeah, I would never do that again. But yeah, it's anything over like 12 is kind of insane to me, honestly. These days, at least.
yeah. I feel like when you get older, it's all this stuff becomes so much more difficult.
Yeah, it's not even like the physical nature of it. It's just like I got other things to do in life, Like I have a lot of stuff going on. I can't just like I'm a person that's like I just have a routine of things I do.
Yeah,
Like if I have a very dedicated health routine and all this stuff, and like I follow it, and that's why I love cash too. I said that like run it once my whatever interview with them, and I was like, I like cash games because I could play like an hour or two and I go do other stuff. You know, like if you're a tournament player, even an online tournament player, like once you fire up those tables on a Sunday, you know, it's like you're invested for 12 hours plus, no matter what. You know, so it's like
If you play MTTs, when would you even work out? I guess like you get up, you work out, and then you start your session, but then you might be legit playing for like 16 hours.
I know that's what I mean. It's like, and I make like 8 different meals. I spread them out and I stretch and do yoga and meditation. Like I don't know how I do any of that. Like I would just kill me. Like it's yeah,
But
everyone
the
has
trade-off is you can't X 300 you're buying.
yeah, right.
Like once every 10 years, though.
Right, right.
Yeah, that hand was wide, yeah, by the way.
Yeah, what was that? I
So
saw
it's
that.
single raise spots, cutoff versus big blind. I'm trying to see how deep we are. We start the hand with 104 bigs effective. And Kevin continues on ace king 6 with a flush draw small. He gets check called. 3 of hearts on the turn. He overbets, gets called again, and then on the river, it just sends it for over 3 times the pot. And then Light thought for a while, decided to make
Oh
the
wow.
call with second pair.
Another stack loss on a 3x shove.
Yeah. But so
Oh,
seeing those hands, I understand why Kevin has like, he has a bunch of the very like, you know, big days, whether it's win or loss, obviously more win. But he plays very
right.
aggro. Like his main line is just bet, bet, jam, no matter for how much.
Wow, and he called a king 5. That's amazing. Wow, what an interesting hand. King 5, I'm thinking here. Obviously, he's blocking 4-5 of spades. 3x shove. Holy crap, so he has to be way overcalling here. I mean, there's zero chance that that's pure call hand. 3x shove, so he's making a statement. That's really cool. That's another hand I wanted. Wow, that's a really cool hand, actually. King 5 suited. He's blocking ace king off.
So if you always call this, you're overdoing it, or like let's say he estimates that Kevin is overdoing it here. Then does this become an automatic call, or like how does this work exactly?
Well, if Kevin's overdoing it, usually like all your 2 pairs will blossom to a pure call. Because in pure theory, like a 3x shove, like even some of his 2 pairs could get pretty dicey. And then I'll have to fold like top pair at like a high frequency, maybe like 80-90% of his top pair folded. And then this region, which is the king x of spade, that's pretty much the bottom of Enlight's range at this point. It's, I mean, he is blocking the 4-5 of spades, which is, you know, one feature which Kevin definitely will have here. But to me, this should be a pretty massive overcall. I can't imagine a world where king 5 suited here is in theory pure call. There's no way. I could be wrong, but I don't think there's any way. It might mix in a little bit, but like I said, if you think about Enlight's range, he's going to have these some 2 pairs. Like he might have like king 6, ace 6, ace 3, ace 2, and I don't even think all those are going to call at full frequency. And then, yeah, it's that seems like I think you're doing something here, Kevin. Kind of call.
So the
That's
Jack
cool.
10 off here specifically, as played, what is going? Is it a frequency thing, or it's fine? Like the whole play is fine?
Well, he has the back door, so it's not as big of an issue as the front door, where like a light won't float as much of the back door as he will have the front door. So that helps. I don't know on what the frequency would be of this, but it seems all right, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends what you think your opponent's. I mean, ace 10, ace jack, you're probably going to be folding a lot if you're in light. So I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting. It's tough to say, you know, like what frequencies he'd be playing here, but to me, from in light seat, it seems like he's kind of like sticking out his chest, like, dude, I don't know. I think you're gonna have too many bluffs here. I think that's at the end of the day what's happening. That's a pretty remarkable call there.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I see one of those hands, I'm like, oh my goodness, like what just happened? And then when we break it down, it's like, no, actually, this is absolutely normal. But I'm glad that once in a while we see a hand like this, and it's like, nope, actually, like, yeah, that was pretty sick call.
Yeah, I like that. I want to. That's another one I want to kind of save and look at. It's really cool.
Okay, I saw another one just now between Prodigy and Enlight, where it's blind versus blind, 140 big blinds deep. A 4-bet pots. Jack 8-6. Prodigy continues quarter. Turn goes check, check, and then on the river, check, check again. I wonder Prodigy on what rivers he might have pulled the trigger. Obviously, like this is kind of bad for him. Like he's losing to a lot there. And also 4-betting King 6 suited. I don't know those ranges. Like in my games, you know, King 6 suited is like a hand where if you get 3 bets, you just call.
I mean, it definitely could get in there at a frequency. He's polarized. I mean, he's not clicking back to 1800, 1900. He's a little more polar than typical here. And you get a little more polar, you can get a little outside the linear box, and you know you can toss this stuff in, you know, at some frequency. So I think it seems okay. But yeah, calling's fine too.
And what do you think about the flop here in the 4-bet pots? Because it does seem to me like, you know, when you think 4-bet, you think like all the high cards, the aces, kings, queens, all that. Whereas like the player who 3-bet and then call a 4-bet, I see Jack 8-6. I'm like, maybe that's him a little more?
Yeah, it's a little both. I mean, Prodigy's Queen plus region is pretty strong here, which he'll have at, you know, basically full frequency and light. This is again no rate game, so actually in light, I think these are spots where like in light can actually flat like aces and kings.
Yeah.
Or he doesn't have a lot of incentive to 5-bet, but Prodigy does 4-bet a little bit larger than maybe some opponents might there. Where I think he went to like 2600 or something. I forgot the sizing, but maybe 2500. But
Yeah, 25.
Yeah, so he goes a little larger. See that changes things a little bit, but so Unlight actually might shove a little bit more 5-bet because if Prodigy clicks back there, Unlight has a lot of incentive to just like call most his range, which makes ranges a little more symmetrical, and that's interesting. But yeah, in terms of the flop, like Prodigy certainly has his own developed 4-bet range here. He's still got enough like value to have like a mixed strategy. So like, there's nothing wrong with including like a King 6 in this line here. That King 6 can be like an army swift knife hand in the future streets where maybe sometimes you can turn into like a merge bluff, or sometimes you can do this where like it goes check, 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 and then you win versus like ace queen or ace king off or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seems fine. It seems fine.
Okay.
And then a light has tens, which yeah, that seems fine as well. Like I said, like given the bet size of Prodigy, like generally in these non-rate games, you have more incentive just to call like a hand like tens. But he did go a little bit larger, so I wonder if a light would be interested in shoving 5-bet.
And how about betting the turn potentially then for Enlight, right? Because it's a classic c-bet quarter pot on the flop, but then once it's checked to him on the turn, does he not feel like he needs some protection from certain hands and like maybe like a small bet in position, or you think checking back is just superior?
No, I like a small bet here could be pretty good. We can never say exactly how Enlight wants to approach the spot. Like maybe he wants to polarize. I think generally a small bet works pretty nicely. Just targeting just random air that Prodigy's going to have here and on this rainbow. And I think tens is strong enough to be included in that. So yeah, it could have been a mixed strategy, or it could have been something where like in light decided to take a little different approach on the turn. But I agree with you. I mean, I think throwing out a small bet with tens on the turn seems perfectly nice to me. But yeah, that time he didn't.
You know, I feel like we've all had those hands where like you have tens here, you play the same way, and then it's like an ace or a king or a queen comes river, and you're just kind of hating life. And villain
Yeah.
bets, and you're like, oh my god, I should have bet.
Yeah, and then your hand's immediately indifferent, and you're like, MF, yeah. You gotta just those spots. It's hard in the moment, but you just gotta be like, what was the best play at the time? Before this, I saw this river. But those are the hands that you end up marking, and you're like, but if it didn't come an ace, you wouldn't mark. You're like, oh yeah, I think I played that good. But then the ace comes, they bet, you're not sure what to do, whether you call or fold, and you're like, I gotta figure, like, was I right on the turn there?
Yeah.
We're human. That's it affects us like that.
Of course. Okay, I think that's gonna be it for me for now. I have to go in a bit, but yeah, thank you for being on, and this was a lot of fun. If you want to come back before the end of the challenge, you're welcome to do so at any time. Just let me know.
Yeah, and I appreciate you having me on. That was a lot of fun. I liked it a lot, and yeah, I'll let you know that for sure. I appreciate it.
And so, out of curiosity, you mentioned some coaching before. Like, if there's some viewers that are like, do you do coaching? And if so, where can people contact you if you actually do?
Yeah, you can contact me on Discord. I don't take more than 1-2 at a time, and I got one coming up in the new year. But yeah, I mean, if you want to shoot me a message on Discord, it's on my YouTube channel. You could certainly go ahead and do it if I have something open. I like working with people, long term, and just like I said, I don't make it like a huge part of what I do, just from a time perspective. But yeah, certainly shoot me a message. Appreciate it.
And your YouTube is just Frankie Carson, I believe, right? Frankie with a K?
Yeah. What's that?
Frankie with a K.
Yep, Frankie with the K. So it's just my name. So yeah, you can go check out the channel. I like talking about high stakes and pretty much anything poker. So I just like talking poker.
And then that's the same on Twitter, Frankie C Poker, which is linked on the YouTube. So I guess the YouTube's the main place for you guys to check out content and then contact as well. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. If you have any shout outs or last things you want to say, then now is the time, boss.
Not much. I want to dig into that last hand we were just talking about. That was super cool blind light. So, but otherwise, it was fun to be on. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time. Have a good day.
Thanks, Jan. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, shout out to Frankie Carson for joining us for this. Make sure to give him a follow, youtube.com, Frankie Carson Poker. There's his Discord and his X/Twitter link there. There's even his email. If you guys want to contact him. And I definitely recommend check out his content. I started watching some of his videos as well. Big love to him. And he's, of course, welcome back anytime he wants to. I'm going to be on a break now for a little bit, but... tonight I have a stream scheduled at 7, so in around 4 hours. So we'll see if the tables are running, how many people are there, and then most likely go live again tonight. So I feel like I've said that a bunch of days in a row, and then I haven't come back live. Just know that if there is enough action, like last night I was going to come back live, and there was like 3 tables that were 3-handed each. It does feel like it's a little light, and then it's very common we'll go live, and then the tables break instantly. So it's kind of dependable on the action. But tonight there is the VIP game as well. In any case, I do not know who's going to stream it. Not me. Probably like someone on that will be on the CoinPoker YouTube. Probably Kaki and someone, I would guess. Like maybe Gazi also did it once before. But yeah, guys, that's it for now. Much love, everyone in the chat that tuned in and hangouts. Cydrus, W stream. Much love, mates. Thank you for being here every time. And yeah, we're back later. Much love, everyone. See you very soon.